evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WGLNA Season 1 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, the man, the myth, the legend, David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube, /WGLNA. And if you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on Twitter, @WGLNA, where you can stay tuned on what's happening all around the community around you.
Pop open another browser tab and check out battleviewer.com if you haven't already. From there, you can watch the stream as usual, interact with the same Twitch chat that you're used to, check out standings, easily access Twitter, among a couple other features. I promise you there is no reason for you not to be watching us on BattleViewer.
Absolutely a fantastic site. And with that second tab, open up a third tab and check out fantasywgl.com. This is World of Tanks Fantasy League. It's a fantastic website. Basically what happens is you go over there before every night, you pick your teams. You can pick up to 7. Those 7 will then gather you points, and points mean prizes, tons of prizes. You've got in-game gold, premium time, and also premium tanks. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Hype 59. Only you can get it if you win some of those prizes, which are given out nightly. So check that out. But enough of me talking about it. Let's roll the clip. Ladies and gentlemen, now for my pickups, David, for this week. Obviously, I picked up Alex Mathis from High Voltage. I'm excited to see him play tonight. We've seen some amazing things from him. And also, from our first matchup, I picked up Drynitz coming out from SIMP, and also J-Smooth from Synrgy. They're battling each other in the first one. Hopefully, it's going to be a long game, and we get a lot of points coming out from that one. I was going to pick Pub Whisperer, but he is not playing tonight, so if you guys have him right now, hurry up and go and take him off, because he will not be playing in our first matchup. David, what about you? What did you pick up?
Yeah, before I go into that, I'm also going to point out that 07 and Lamp will not be playing tonight, as Lamp has forfeit today. More information on that forthcoming. We'll tell you about that as soon as we can. As soon as we can confirm some of the rumors we're hearing, we'll fill you in.
Yep.
So that definitely affected my overall picks.
Yeah.
Before that, I was pretty much going with one player from each team because it's a hard match day to predict today.
Okay.
But with that dropping it freed up some extra picks. So I have 2 for High Voltage.
Okay.
And I'm going with DeKillzor and Anfield. As last match they played, both of them put up huge numbers. Now Anfield, don't fail me, bro.
We don't want the Nagatron curse to start too soon, so maybe watch what you say. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were in here for Tuesday's matchups, let's take a look at the scores. Up first, we had for you guys High Voltage versus 07, where High Voltage clean swept 5-0, followed by Rival versus Maple Freedom 5-1. Elevate versus #RU won 5-2, and finally Noble versus Refuse. Noble beat Refuse 5-3. And David, let's walk through kind of those games right off the bat. High Voltage versus 07. Now, 07 going down, being the first of 3 undefeated teams to be defeated on Tuesday night, and High Voltage playing extremely well. What are some of the thoughts on that?
It looked to me like a brand new High Voltage team. I mean, they had a lot of talent on them to begin with, but with the addition of DeKillzor, they ratcheted up a whole new level. And just, I think overall the biggest takeaway from that is Lakeville, their Southern Lakeville defense was probably the best Lakeville defense I've seen in this league so far today.
Absolutely, a fantastic job done by then. Match 2 was Rival versus Freedom. Maple Freedom actually beating Rival 5-1, which was kind of uncharacteristic of them. Both teams coming out of the Silver League, but Rival showing a little more prominence, a little better play throughout the season. But Maple turning it on. Just some of your thoughts on that?
I'd have to agree with you. I thought going into it that Rival had the edge.
Yep.
They played a very well put together game, the one before that. But Maple came out to play.
Yeah.
I mean, they've seen the score 1-5, but they've been on the wrong side of it too many times. And this time, they broke out a lot more mechanics that I think, as long as they can continue doing that, they definitely won't be getting relegated if they keep playing that way, and perhaps they can even start taking off some of the better teams, some of the higher level teams, some of the more veteran teams, because those were some important qualities.
Absolutely. And one thing we were saying about Maple Freedom is you kind of were talking about how you were seeing them learn as they were playing a couple weeks ago, or last week.
Yes.
And now it seems that they're putting those into practice, which is really exciting. Up next, we had Elevate versus #RU, a really exciting match. #RU 5-2. Talking about the pickup of Eclipse on that side, and just I mean, it was such a fun match to watch. Just explain to me what you saw.
You know, I never thought that I would see MR Lee and Arclit and Eclipse all playing in North America in the same match, but I loved it. Now, I think the biggest, most important thing on that entire set was #RU's Himmelsdorf play seems the most concrete out of everybody right now. I mean, there were things that they were doing where they were split, and it's very hard to read. There's not a one trick pony to it, where a lot of people go for a northern cap and then they force you to come to them. #RU just kind of spread out and caused chaos and then outskilled Elevate to take the victory, and that's a hard thing to deal with for any team.
Did they lose at all on that map?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I mean, fantastic.
They did very well either way. That's for sure.
Yeah, coming out from them. And finally, Noble versus Refuse. Noble actually beating Refuse 5-3, and Refuse being the last of the 3 undefeated teams. Now there are no undefeated teams, but something somewhat uncharacteristic, as Refuse has been in the lead this entire season.
Refuse has definitely been doing well, better than I originally expected, and I'm sure many fans originally expected. However, Noble is never a team you want to count down and out. They've had a little bit of trouble with some of the teams they've faced, but they've faced some pretty high-level teams pretty early, so that can be expected. Most notably, their Mines game significantly improved. And that's a huge takeaway. That was something they've been struggling with so far. But I felt like Refuse didn't play as well as they could have. Not that means that Noble wouldn't have won anyways, because some of the things I saw Noble doing, in particular on Ruinberg, there was an opportunity they had to assault. They assaulted the offense.
Right.
So they were on defense, and they could have just waited and dragged everything out, but they saw the opportunity. They had the right amount of intelligence to make a tricky call to make and pushed on Refuse in that situation and clinched it. And that's a very good move, and it certainly heralds better things to come. So maybe they can keep it up.
All right. Well, again, a lot of upsets coming out of Tuesday's matches. Let's take a look at the standings so far into our Week 3. Day number 2, #RU now up on top, dethroning Refuse, but who is now in a close second, followed by Elevate and 07. Down the bottom, Lamp and Game Over, 2 teams that really need to pick it up before relegations come about. Coming into tonight's matches, ladies and gentlemen, we have now 3, as David was saying. Up first is SIMP versus Synrgy, followed by what was going to be Lamp and 07, which is canceled. So we're going to go straight to Game Over versus Maple Freedom. And finally for the night, High Voltage versus Rival. Now, David, out of the 3 matchups tonight, which one are you most excited to see?
SIMP versus Synrgy. Now, I know typically I would go with perhaps High Voltage, as I'm just kind of generally interested, since they're the new team. There's something I haven't seen a whole lot of yet. I just kind of always want to see how they play out. But in this case, SIMP versus Synrgy, formerly known as Simple Tankers. These are 2 teams that came from the same clan, a lot of the same origins. And I want to see how that pans out. But without Pub Whisperer, Synrgy might not be able to perform at the level they need to take down a team like SIMP.
That's a great point. For me also, I'm excited to see that match. Looking just in the standings of these 2 teams, I believe they're tied right now. For me, it's excited to see kind of it raises the bar one more step to see which one can kind of overtake the other.
They are indeed tied
right
now.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for our pregame show. Thank you so much for joining. Stay tuned. We'll be back with match number 1 right after this.
West, they're going to be slow getting there, and those 5100s are no good in the 3-4 line at all. Just not enough impression, not enough cover. Sketchy, if you ask me.
Wow, we'll hear Flack getting caught out almost immediately in that AMX 12T, trying to maybe get some spots in the enemy team. Valkyrie gonna pick him up from across the lake. A great start, 14 Rival here on Lakeview, and some more damage going across as J-Smooth trying to make his way through. Beautiful shots, just trailing the AMX 5100. Walk me through kind of what that little skirmish favors. We only have 2 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock.
It looks like a failed strategy, if you ask me. They were banking on some things that just didn't happen. There's actually an isolation on Memory League here at the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. Memory League trying to run away from these 2 members of High Voltage, Wall Hacks and Heavy 20, trying to make it back to his team. Drogon, E63 coming down to help him out. Coolhammer now there to back him up. But Ox Mathis with an amazing pickup on that Hardy on the run. A beautiful shot in that M44. Top of the railroads, getting a lot of damage in return. not putting much out. Static in a bit of a trouble. Azrael gonna go ahead and find X-Soldier. Dodema finding Static, and now Elevate still with an amazing over 2,000 health lead. The shots are firing back and forth. Zone Delta getting about one more shot. Let's see if Dodema can pick him up. No, G-Force are going to be a block, and they're going to find him out. Back-to-back kills. Zone Delta and Azrael. Germ finding a kill finally in that M44, but it doesn't look like he's going to be enough. 55 seconds remain. 5 tanks on the side of Elevate, just 3 remain for the side of Noble. Canadian Impact getting extremely destroyed there. They just maybe have to send, oh, there we go, Oxmathis getting a beautiful shot onto KT on that T-54. I'm not sure if that was that a blind shot?
That is possible. I mean, where KT is it's not particularly easy to see.
Oh my gosh, Oxmathis
my
picking up KT in the T-54, showing that he is the boss in that M44 artillery tank. A beautiful pickup there. Also coming too, but this looks like the fight that they're going to need. Overload Prime and Brodus coming against these two T-54 lightweights. Let's see what's going to happen. Overload Prime coming and getting the first shot off. A shot coming across and tracking Overload Prime. Not going to be able to get the damage on that ram that he probably wanted, but now Abrasive and Putin, a nice little going. Brodus, though, getting extremely destroyed. Trying to make his way behind the rock. Not going to make it time. Abrasive going to be the next one. Crimson Crosshair with a beautiful arc from that Artie, getting a kill, but Maktab Putin going to respond. Now it's Overload Prime fighting against Maktab Putin. Maktab Putin will get that kill, and he is the sole survivor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Season 1 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left is David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube, /WGLNA. Also follow us on Twitter, @WGLNA. And again, if you're watching this anywhere else and you're liking it, and it's not on battleviewer.com, go over to battleviewer.com, and I guarantee you, you're going to love it. But back to Twitter. David, what do we got for the question of the day?
Who is your choice for League MVP so far this season?
All right, for me personally, I think it's a no-brainer. I'm going to have to go with Oxmathis. It's been so fun to watch him. He's had some amazing plays going out of here. I believe he's been on our highlights both weeks in a row, so Oxmathis is my pick.
2 weeks in 3 different positions. Oxmathis is
right.
clearly in the lead
right.
right now. It's really just a race for everybody else to see if they can dethrone him. But that's my choice. Now, I'm interested to see if this changes as today goes forward.
Okay.
As questions tend to do.
Sure. Yeah, last week, I mean, it changed the whole night. The entire question got kind of dethroned there. Also talking about Oxmathis, so you were saying how Eclipse is, someone else who might rival that position. So do you think that might be an okay pick to choose?
Yeah, and that'll come down to, map picking and a bunch of other stuff. I'm sure people are going to start trying to get away from artillery maps if they have to play people like Oxmathis in Eclipse. But that's a complicated thing we'll go through a little bit when we have more time.
Absolutely. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're excited to say that we have an interview with some of the players before each of the matches. Up first, it looks like we're going to have Laps from SIMP. Laps, welcome to the show.
Hi, how's it going?
Doing fantastic, sir. How are you?
Oh, it's a beautiful day in Seattle, no complaints.
Awesome. David, any questions for our friend here?
All right, there's one question I think everybody wants to hear an answer to is there's been some debate about whether the current SIMP team is more SIMP or more Hammer Time. What do you have to say about that?
I'll say this. I believe that each team ends up building a culture inside of it. Some of them are goofy, some of them are silly, and I would say that SIMP is defined by discipline. And SIMP was approached by Hammer Time, and Hammer Time wanted to join our culture, and they integrated in with us. So certainly there's a lot of the talent and the skill from them, but they joined us, and they became part of our team.
All right, and also another question is, I think everyone wants to know why last season's team split up with some of you guys going to high voltage. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Certainly. First of all, I got to say, all the guys are still on speaking terms. We all like each other. One of the hardest parts about this game is that it takes so much dedication. And what SIMP found out at the end of Season 4 after a very hard defeat against #RU is that we weren't playing together. In Season 5, we were still sticking together. So hoping we could get to the global grand finals. That didn't end up working out. So this had kind of been in the works for some time. I love all those guys. I'm very happy to see that nearly everybody that left, actually I think I'm counting all of them, are starters on the teams that they joined. And they went to #RU, and they went to High Voltage Cabalers, majority of them. The short answer is, if you don't play together and you don't do it casually, you're not going to be able to stick together as a professional team. And then that happened slowly over time, and those cracks just came to the surface.
I certainly know what that's like. I mean, every team goes through the same thing at some point in time. Laps, thank you so much.
My pleasure. See you around.
All right. It's so cool, I think, to see how, teams who have split up still maintain that, friendship and that camaraderie, and that it is such a community and such a bond there. Speaking of that, you said you have experienced that. Maybe can you speak a little more to being in a position where your team kind of, splits off, but you still know each other and play together?
Well, so, I mean, it's a little bit more intense for teams like the one I was on, or for SIMP, as a lot of people don't quite understand that those teams had existed up to a year or more before the Pro League actually started, building for the Pro League, doing tournaments and the like. So there's a lot more history there,
Yeah.
And I've always been impressed that that SIMP and people like that have been able to stay together for as long as they have. It's a challenging thing. Everybody faces some sort of argument at some point, but the best teams find a way to get through it. But eventually, those arguments keep resurfacing,
Sure.
and even though everybody gets along personally, it's time to go your separate ways.
All right. Well, up next, we're going to have, I believe, Jay Smooth from Synrgy. Jay Smooth's on the line. Welcome, sir, to the show.
Hey guys, good to be here.
Awesome. David, take it away.
All right, Smooth. Nice hat, by the way.
Like it.
You lost
Straight back from the camping trip, man.
I feel like I'm home right now. You guys lost Angry Guy, Wall Hacks, Tofu Smurf to High Voltage. Can you tell us a little bit about why that happened?
Oh, they're all great guys. They felt like they could reach the next level by making their own team. There was talk about merging some stuff within Simple Tankers at the time, but they felt ultimately that to give our team the ability to continue on like we wanted to do, that they would just go conform and join their own team, which is fine. Wish them all the best. They're still good friends. We still talk, but we'll move forward.
Understandable. Just like we were talking about with Simp, a lot of history with that team, and it's pretty much inevitable at some point.
Absolutely. Now, Jay Smooth, kind of going off David's question, going to piggyback on that. How do you feel that these losses has affect your team?
Well, anytime you lose 3 guys that started in your top 7, it's going to affect your team. But we have a lot of veterans on this team. We've played together for a while. We've picked up some veterans, picked up the guys from Simply Irresistible. So it's just been working together and building that team cohesion. We came close the first 2 weeks, had to get those jitters out. Laid an egg with some computer issues against Rival, but then we came back against Game Over and took the right step forward. And now we get our good pals sent tonight. It'll be fun.
Awesome. Super excited. Looking forward to that. Again, Jason, I got you on my team, so hopefully you can rack up some points for me tonight. I got to try to climb over this guy. I don't think it's going to happen, but if you can pull a miracle out, that would be fantastic. Again, thank you so much.
Whoa, what do you mean pull a miracle, man?
I mean, like,
we're going straight to the danger zone.
3,000 danger zone, 3,000 points. I love it. Sounds great. Jay Smooth, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck on the battlefield.
Good.
I mean, he can give you all the points in the world, and you're still not going to catch me. It's all right.
True.
It's all right.
He's number 4, ranked number 4 right now in the fantasy league.
Now that you said it, I'm probably going to lose a bunch of spots after tonight.
I don't have your curse. I don't have that kind of power.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I want to say, go off what Jay Smooth sort of said there, building that team cohesion. Another question: have you experienced that, and how long, or what does that feel like to lose a lot of members, get some new ones, and to kind of go through those training wheels, over again? How long does that take, or are there any tricks to it, or
if there are any tricks to it, I never figured them out.
Okay.
We replaced a couple people throughout our tenure, and every time it was always extremely rough for whoever that 7th person was. basically getting dropped into a shark pit, because we already know each other so well, and you nitpick every little thing that each other does to some extent. You do it in a civil way, but every team has its own culture, like Laps was talking about. And on our team, it was particularly hard for new people to get dropped into that spot, as the expectations for them were significantly high.
Sure.
And I always felt bad to a certain extent for anybody who had to go through that, but at the same time, we didn't have time
to feel bad.
To feel bad, we needed people ready to play right now. One thing I do want to go over before we get into this next match is how map picking works, because this is something that we haven't really discussed so much on stream yet.
Sure.
And I know a lot of you want to hear it. So basically, there's a coin toss. Now, whoever's higher seed, or whoever gets listed first on the roster or on the schedule, which is higher seed for the most part, gets to call the coin toss. Now, if they win the coin toss, they get to choose whether they either want to choose the first map to ban, or what role they want to have on the map that's played. But before we keep going let's look at rosters real quick.
I'm looking up on this. I also want to point out Simp picking up Big Cheese, also Velatio, I believe. And who else to look out for on Synrgy side?
Well, on Synrgy, typically I would call out Pub Whisper, but he won't be here today. So right now, Pride and Executus are probably some of the two top earners. J Smooth, a very good player, but he will be calling, and that can be difficult. But like you said, Velatio and Big Cheese, new pickups for Simp. I'm eager to see how they work out. Velatio, well-known player, and Big Cheese is somebody I've known for quite a while, and I would love to see him play. We'll have to get back to the overall map picking thing. I'm sure we'll have time. Don't worry.
We'll have plenty of time.
Sorry I teased you with it.
But it's good. It's like a trailer for a movie. But ladies and gentlemen, right now is the feature. Our first battle of the night, Simp versus Synrgy Gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, we're right into it. Let's get into the game and take a look at what we got for our tanks.
For Simp, we have 3 5100s, 2 IS3s, a T29, and a Tiger 1, while Synrgy Gaming is running with 2 5100s, 3 T54 lightweights, and 2 T29s. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been able to explain how map picking works yet, but I do believe that Synrgy got to choose which map gets played first.
Okay.
As this is, as we've seen so far, kind of their bread and butter.
Sure, I'm talking about the strong positions there. I want to wonder, like we were saying when we saw this map last, we have some amazing positions up there in that A1 corner, but we haven't seen anyone have a good counter to that. So I'm wondering if people are going to stay away from that, if they kind of figure that out throughout the week during scrims. It'll be interesting to see how teams kind of pick this out. Simp playing all together as a single team who are on the offense. First up in Ghost Town, and Synrgy Gaming on the defense. We got Moderator pushing way out onto that B0 line. Looking for a spot, maybe going for a...
That could be a very destructive flank if he gets far enough. Now, that Synrgy is very spread right now. So if Simp is able to close that distance, they will annihilate Synrgy. However, with the amount of spread vision that Synrgy has, they're actually at an advantage in seeing that even come. Unless Simp does this, which Simp isn't interested in finding out where Synrgy is. They know where Synrgy has to be in order to stop this from happening.
Sure.
And that's all they're worried about. We'll see if it pays off for him, because Synrgy has a lot of experience on this map.
Yeah, coming down already, putting cap pressure, which is dropping to about 30 seconds now already, as we're going to see how how Synrgy can go ahead and respond to this. Looks like we have Moderator, Unknown One, Pride, Zakumi, and J Smooth rolling around as far as on the other side. Executus and Flat going in for maybe some sort of a flank. Let's see if they can find any good picks, or if Simp can do a good job defending this as the cap dropping down to 15 seconds. Some shots going out already on Crimson Corsair. The AMX 3100 dropping down 1200. He goes down. J Smooth picking that up. A beautiful pickup, but the cap timer is going down. They need to get a reset. A reset does come. I believe that was J Smooth picking that one up as well. A good save there. And now Simp running off on the retreat, already losing a tank down. Zakumi, that T29. He needs to be careful as Nitz and Droxus and Overlord coming around the corner. One more shot. Looks like he might go down. It's going to be careful there. Moderator shooting in from the side. And a lot of damage coming back and forth. Pride up on top, getting dropped extremely low as well in that 5100. And Droxus going to pick up Zakumi. It's now a 1-for-1 exchange back and forth. And the explosions have started. The shots are going around. The Unknown One need to get out of there. He's backing up. Protus looks like on the count, and over in the corner, T54 Flag and Drinitz. Droxus finding a known one in that IS3, and now Pride going to drop extremely quickly afterward. Photo Finish going to find that one. It is now a 6v4 in favor of Simp, doing a great job turning that aggression on and finding the picks. Let's see over in the corner. Drynitz is going to find Flag. That's another tank dropping for Synrgy Gaming. And Simp off to a great start here. Executus moderator on the way. J-Smooth, not sure he can make it out of there. He needs to find some cover and quickly. One more shot before he goes in the corner. He will go down. No, he's going to get out safely, trying to meet up with his teammates Executus and moderator. But I'm not sure that there's much they can do here in this overmatch that they are about to find.
No, right now, Simp is just hunting him down because he can. However, all they have to do is really get on cap, and everything will be in short order solved for them. Apologies for the UI. Apparently freaking out there for a little bit, but everything is now in order, and J-Smooth is down. That's going easily in Simp's favor at this point.
Yeah, just now 2 tanks remaining for the side of Synrgy Gaming. There's a lot of damage coming out onto moderator and Executus. Looks like those are dropping down a little later than actual time, but Broda's coming in that AM100, see if he can finish it out. The other 4 tanks pushing us aside. Drynitz going to pick it up, and Broda's getting the kill after an early victory coming out for Simp. David, on this Ghost Town, I'm sorry, who were you saying was stronger on this side? You said...
Well, we haven't seen Simp play
sure.
yet. I mean,
and obviously, they're looking great.
Most of the time, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, but most of the time if we're picking a map and choosing who's stronger out of these 2 teams, it should be Simp most of the time.
Okay.
Ghost Town may have been one. It probably was one that I was comfortable saying that Synrgy would stand a very good chance on and could potentially beat them. I think what they were doing had a lot of merit. However, when it came down to the actual brawl, all that space that they had, all those flanks that they had, which were good for resets and good for setting kind of traps, they can't fire around city blocks, and they're not close enough to their team to share hit points. And that's what that came down to. Even though they got a pick on Crimson right off the bat with a 5100,
right.
As soon as the team fight happened, there weren't enough tanks there to actually repel the amount of hit points coming at them. Simp knew that. They pushed anyways. They dropped almost all their tanks down to half when they did it. But they took out 3 tanks because there just wasn't enough there to stop it. Getting sniped from a 54 from a distance doesn't matter if he can't get his hit points in the fight. It's just isolations. And in that instance, Synrgy was trying something new, and I can see how it might work. Okay. But they need more hit points in the fight, or that can happen to them every single time they open it up.
Now, the new thing that was coming out on the side of Synrgy Gaming was that moderator going on a really strong flank. I looked up in that northeastern corner.
Multiple tanks going on a flank. It was more how the actual fight took place is really what was new about that whole thing. I believe the Tiger 1 probably got a reasonable amount of damage as well. It's got a pretty good DPM. I don't really like it on this map as it's fairly easy to penetrate if you get it on a corner situation. But if a team fight happens like that, it's a tank that you can't ignore, but you don't want to prioritize either. So it's kind of a catch-22 for anybody who gets in that situation. Sure. I mean, Tiger's not a bad tank. It's just not a great tank in this mode. If he had come across a T-54 lightweight or something on a corner, the 54 can snipe him all day, and he probably won't even get a shot off. It's only in a head-to-head where the Tiger really weighs in, and in that instance, Simp found a way to get a head-to-head.
Yeah.
It really worked for them.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready for our second battle of the night, Simp versus Synrgy. Let's see if Simp can surprise us with their new plays on Ghost Town, or if Synrgy Gaming can come through and show us the strengths that they've been showing so far. As we're into it, Simp going to maintain on offense, Synrgy on defense. David, what do we got for tanks?
For Simp, we have 2 5100s, 3 IS-3s, a T-29, and a Tiger 1. What they ran last time, it worked. Why not? Synrgy, 2 5100s, an IS-3, 2 T-32s, a T-54 lightweight, and a T-37. So a slightly different lineup than they had before. Definitely one that's better in a brawl this time, so they've made a read on Simp. And I guess they're assuming that Simp only wants to have a team fight. They have no sort of grandiose strategy here with a lot of traps laid into it, but that might be... Maybe that's me putting words in their mouths. Okay. Maybe that's what they're doing. If it is what they're doing, that's kind of a risk. Honestly, counting Simp out like that might not be the wisest choice. However, Simp doing roughly what they did last time, moving into the middle, with a little bit of a trap going on in the northeast with Brodus and Drynitz. However, Drynitz and Brodus are getting close enough to where Synrgy is. They might end up finding them with their faces, and that's not going to work. If Synrgy moves anyway the way they did last time with that rotation around the northeast, they'll catch these 2 5100s, and they'll kill them really quickly. However, that didn't work for Synrgy last time.
Sure.
Not a bad guess that they won't try it again this time.
Yeah.
And only time will tell.
Yeah, let's find out as 2 members of SIMP are now going to be on the cap, putting the pressure on down to 38 seconds. And here comes response from Synrgy Gaming as they're moving 4 of their members up here around the corner, going to face off against these tanks. Let's see if that trap, Drynitz and Brodus laying wait, are going to pay off. As photo finish, looks like he's going to try to spot anyone. No one yet. Zakumi and Pride going up for it, getting a shot in, missing the shot. Shots coming back and forth, but nothing connecting yet. The countdown timer still going down, now down to 16 seconds. Let's see if Synrgy Gaming can move in. Executives coming off of that hit on the A1, but now Moderator getting a good shot on Nitz and Adroxus, who are going to back off the cap, getting the pressure relieved for the side of the defense, Synrgy Gaming. Now, David, looking at what happened there, Simp, when they back people off like that, Nitz and Adroxus, is that just because they weren't, kind of expecting Synrgy to come in the way they did?
They were expecting them completely. In fact, they were turned around to get ready to run the exact direction they did. They're fortunate to have gotten out with as little damage taken as they have. I don't know what their plan is from here on out. I think they may have expected to volley the first tank that showed up, but that tank was a T-32, and that's a hard shot to make reliably. You pretty much just kind of send it and hope it penetrates in a certain area on the turret. But Simp does have a counter or a next phase to their strategy. As I've discussed many times before, a lot of these teams plan everything in phases. So there's the opening phase where they put on pressure and discover where Synrgy is and where Synrgy is going to go. And then from there, they rotate someplace else, reassert themselves. In this instance, it looks like perhaps they are going to attempt a northern cap, or they're trying to get around the flank of Synrgy. But Synrgy sees this coming. They've already adjusted. They're putting Executives back in that A1 spot, and this is looking a lot better for Synrgy Gaming than it was last match.
Yeah, one of the things we're talking about also when looking at this this northern cap, sometimes the defensive team will go over and destroy the destructible houses there. Not done quite yet the side of Synrgy Gaming, but I'm sure that now they know the cap pressure is on, they will start doing that. There's one of the houses going down. Moderator taking a shot in as well. Unknown one taking those 2 down. 40 seconds, but Executives in that A1 spot. I'm excited to see once the side Adroxus or Nitz from Simp are spotted, the shots that he can make from that new position, and to see really if Simp has any good response for it. The cap now going down to 28 seconds here. And David, what do you think we're going to see? What is the trigger that Synrgy Gaming is waiting for?
Probably about 5 to 10 more seconds of seeing if Executives can get this reset. They're really banking on it, but with these 2 IS-3s dancing a little bit back and forth, it gets a lot harder to penetrate from that angle. Oh. There we go. HE to the turret. That'll do it.
Now, let's talk a little bit about those high explosive rounds that people will bring to reset the caps. Why is that a lot more reliable than a normal one? Armor penetration.
HE is more reliable to do damage. It just won't do much damage. So as it explodes, you can get a little damage on a track or a module of any type, and that'll reset the cap just fine. And that's really all you need. In that instance, it looked like he got a solid Executus, got a solid reset with the HE, and then actually fired an APCR and a Nitz after that. Drox has taken a little bit more damage.
Yeah.
But so far, Synrgy has all the answers here, and they're just sitting pretty, waiting for Simp's next play, which is probably what Synrgy is set up for over here in the middle part of the map, waiting for those IS-3, Tiger, T-29. Brodus and Drynitz are getting ready to step up. They'll come up and over here, and as long as Synrgy is prepared for this, they should come out on top of this match, but it looks like Synrgy is actually moving on them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's wise.
Well, let's see what's going to happen. A lot of explosion going on here. Moderator taking a lot of damage, and no one dropping below half health. One more shot. He will go down. Drynitz going to pick that one up, and Synrgy Gaming now recognizing the mistake they made, trying to back off. Over on the other side, Nitz, that IS-3 getting dropped extremely low himself. Let's see if Synrgy Gaming can pick that one up. More damage back and forth. No, Nitz finding Flak. Another team going down. Crimson Corsair finding Moderator. Simp is turning the heat up. Executives running around that team before trying to find Nitz, but not going to, as Crimson finding J Smooth. Another tank going down. Finally, Executives getting an answer, but only 3 tanks remain for Synrgy. A lot of them were dropping when that went down. Photo finish. Finding Zakumi before he goes down himself in that T-29, and now just Pride and Executives remain for the side of Synrgy Gaming. 1 minute and 17 seconds remain. Let's see if Simp can clean this one up. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to over here on the side. We have 3 tanks going after Pride. He is still on reload in that 5100. And over in the corner, we've got Executives running from Adroxus and photo finish here. Adroxus going to be the one to find Executives. And Pride going to go down. One more shot will do it. Crimson going to pick that one up. Simp with another victory here on Ghost Town. David.
I'm gonna be honest. That one was kind of disappointing for me. I was really rooting for Synrgy to pull that off.
It looked like
they really should
have.
They had everything going for them, and then they just gave Simp the entrance they needed to break that defense apart. I'm not really sure why that happened.
Okay.
I'm just positive that it was not a good idea.
Now, talking about that, when this happens, when we see teams who are on a defensive stand-up, all they need to do is reset the cap. Executives was doing a great job at that. Simp was getting a little bit aggressive, but it looked like Synrgy was just going to back off. But then Synrgy decided to take those 3 tanks and push. Do you think why that happened? Was it information they got? Do you think they maybe thought there was less tanks over there than there were?
It just had to be some sort of miscall, or they didn't expect that many tanks to be ready and waiting.
Okay.
Maybe perhaps they thought they would poke the corner and just kind of see where Simp was and then back off. But Simp was getting ready to move that direction already. So they ended up just stepping into the waiting jaws of a team that needed that pick, all 3 picks, to get into that fight. And Synrgy had it. There's a lot of good stuff going for Synrgy there, but just a critical mistake leads to another Simp victory.
Sure. And we're talking about Simp brought the Tiger again, if I'm not mistaken, which you said they needed for the head-to-head battles, which Synrgy kind of gave them.
Yeah, they allowed it to happen completely. There's no real point in going into the stats completely.
Okay.
All I will say is that Crimson Corsair in the Tiger one, which is interesting because he wasn't in the Tiger one last match.
Wow.
At least I don't think he was. 2,167 damage, 11 shots, 10 hits, 10 pens. It's got high DPM. I mean, if you can get that gun on target and it doesn't just get exploded immediately, it's a very good tank. Again, I don't really like it on this map, but I don't have the kind of practice experience they do, so maybe they know that they can protect it and get it into position pretty often. I would not be surprised, now that I think about it. I've noticed that the T-29 and the Tiger are next to each other all the time. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
The T-29 has the hull down capability, and its actual hull is very large. Roughly large enough for the Tiger to sit next to it. So when you go for the corner checking and peeking over things, general situations in which a Tiger is a huge vulnerability, the T-29 buddy is checking it out for him, absorbing shots, bouncing them off, whatever, and the Tiger 1 is there to mop up the damage. So It's a nice little tactic and combination I've seen them doing so far. Hopefully they're doing it on purpose. I think they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah. Hashtag battle buddies. That's what I was waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be into our 3rd battle now. Simp versus Synrgy Gaming. Simp up now 2 to Synrgy. Let's see if Synrgy can hold on or if Simp's going to continue this steamroll as we get into our 3rd battle. Simp now switching sides on the defense. Synrgy Gaming on the offense. David, what do we got for tanks?
Tanks for Simp are a 5100, 4 IS-3s, a T-32, and a T-37, while Synrgy Gaming has 2 5100s, an IS-3, 2 T-32s, a T-54 lightweight, and an AMX-12T. Perhaps, actually, at some point tonight we'll be able to get into the differences between the 12T, the T-37, and the T-21. As last show, we were noticing them used for different things. I put in quite a bit of time on each one of them to make sure that my comments were accurate from this point forward.
Awesome.
What I suspected their reasons were was correct. However, I did learn one thing about the T-21 that we'll get into as soon as we get a chance, honestly.
No, executives, rushing that center cap, getting some, a little bit of pressure there, but now it looks like he's in a little bit of trouble as Overlord and Nitz coming around from behind him, also on the side, and Droxus. He's now getting himself out of there. So on this side, it seems as if you, on the offense, you are spawned closer to that center, or maybe you just rush there in that T-54 quicker, maybe it's an even spawn. Was that sort of a distraction to see if Simp was going to move over there and set most of their tanks? Because obviously, it looks like most of their forces are focused onto this northern cap.
Must have been probably just some sort of scouting maneuver. I mean, this has been their play from the beginning. I don't know if they're super interested in getting into a distraction, as distracting Simp with a single tank would be kind of difficult unless you actually risked a higher tank. Really interesting, though, is Drynitz going straight for cap in an IS-3. He must be very confident in his positions, because this does not look reliable to me. I guess they just don't have a position prepared to do these resets, because Drynitz is under some serious pressure.
Absolutely, coming down finally to get the reset. It did drop down to about 15 seconds there, but Drynitz taking a lot of damage. Pride is going to find him over the corner in that 5100, and the cap is still going for Synrgy Gaming. Not looking like a good exchange there at all, and Drox is now trying to destroy those houses to get a clear shot, but over in the corner, J-Smooth gonna find Overload Prime, a good 1-for-1, and back here, Unknown and J-Smooth going against Photo Finish. Brodas coming around that AMX 5100, having a lot of his shots available. Unknown one and a tight bit of damage here as Photo, and getting double time in that T32. One more shot, he will go down. Let's see who's going to pick it up. It will not be Brodos, who is now on the reload. Photo finish. Going to pop over. He is now at the con. One more shot will do it. Let's see if anyone can get the damage. He does. Photo actually missing a shot. Unknown looks like he might be able to get out of there. Photo poking himself a little further ahead as Flack trying to defend his teammate. J-Smooth coming around a few more seconds is going to be on the reload, and the cap pressure is still being applied on the side of Synrgy Gaming against Simp. Let's see if Simp can get this reload. Executus finding Crimson Corsair. A good pickup there, and is now a 4v6. Now it's a 4v6 as Photo finish, finally finding Votato. The cap pressure now dropping as it's just one tank on for Synrgy Gaming, but still, the health over 3,000 in favor of Synrgy Gaming. Not looking good for Simp in this moment whatsoever, and Drox is getting extremely low. One more shot, and this IS3 will do it. Photo finish, though, finding Unknown One. A good little pickup to see if he can stand it, but Sakumi going to respond by taking, and Drox is down. Now just 2 tanks remain. Here comes Synrgy Gaming with the response, pulling that trigger, moving in. J-Smooth having 4 more shots on that AMX 5100. Brodus going to find Executus, but it looks like that was the shot he has. If I'm not mistaken, he is on reload. It might be a problem with the AI there, but Flack, it doesn't matter because J-Smooth is taking him down, just leaving Nits up, and it looks like Synrgy Gaming is going to pick up their first victory here. On to Ghost Town. One more shot will do it. There it is. Flack picking up an IS3. 1 game going to Synrgy. Now 2-1. David, you seem a little perplexed.
Well, I guess fair is fair in that instance.
Okay.
Synrgy gave them a win for no discernible reason when they were on defense, and Simp just gave it right back because that was not a smart way of trying to block that cap. My only guess is they either I have 2. They either didn't prepare enough to get the positions they wanted, or just some sort of rotational timing thing. Perhaps, like you said, they were distracted by their early spot. They really needed to have something prepared to handle that northern cap, because we've been talking about it since qualifiers, and it's no secret amongst most of the team captains. The northern cap is the harder one to reset. Yeah. Because you stick a T32 in there, where are you going to shoot him? Okay. Right? The only team we've seen with a reliable answer to that so far has been Synrgy, with that nice little A1 spot they've got going on.
Yeah, A1 is always, it's also delicious, but also a great spot. Now was that Nits in that IS3 coming up on top? Just kind of sacrificing himself in the beginning? Was that
Dry Nits?
It was Dry Nits.
Dry Nits. One of the Nits brothers.
One of the Nits. One of the 2.
They're not actually brothers.
Oh, good little fun fact for you
just
there.
letting you know.
Now looking at that position, like you were saying, so you were saying that was because they just didn't have a good response to reset the cap, and they just needed to do it quickly because the pressure was on, or?
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing I could see is they just had to run in there. I don't know. There's got to be other ways. We don't have time to actually go to the stats as the match is due to start any second now. But I will tell you, J-Smooth shot 9 for 9 for 9.
Wow.
In his 5100, nearly 2,300 damage. That's pretty huge. And Brodus similarly in a 5100 shot 8 out of 9 out of 10. So for clarity there, 10 shots, 9 hits, 8 penetrations. For about 2,200 damage. So both 5100s making pivotal plays there. Yeah. What I noticed the most, though, Unknown One, with 1 shot left of HP, going hull down in that area, lasting way longer than Simp really should have let him. And that pretty much held the offensive defense, I guess, of what you would call what Synrgy was doing.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're into our 4th battle now. Simp versus Synrgy Gaming. J-Smooth doing a great job getting those points asked for. Let's see if they can continue this. If Synrgy Gaming can tie this one up, or if Simp will have a nice 3-1 into the next battle. David, what do we got for tanks?
Simp with a 5100, 3 IS3s, a T32, an RU251, and a T37. So they changed up a little bit. Probably to handle that sort of northern cap. We'll see if Synrgy goes there again. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't. Typically not a good idea to do the same thing twice, except occasionally. Synrgy with 2 5100s and IS3, 2 T32s, a T54 lightweight, and AMX 12T, and they are going south. Yeah,
looks like they're doing exactly what you said, not going for that north at all. Overload Prime getting into that A1 position we were just talking about. Photo finish and Nits running into the center. Crimson over here on the side. Let's see if we can get some spots here. Executives this spot as well as Crimson himself, getting a little bit of damage there. A T54 lightweight against a T37. Crimson now on the move, making his way back, getting a nice little chunk of shot in there. 136 damage. It looks like just they're going to exchange some shots and back out. Looking though as Simp is going to respond to this. Now, David, do you think it was a successful scouting mission for Synrgy Gaming there?
They more of a counter-scouting mission with Executus there, preventing Crimson from seeing the rest of their team, and in that sense, it was successful. Okay. However, there is a fight developing here in the southwest, and the rest of the tanks have been spotted.
That's right. We have Flag, Steinpride, and Unknown One going at it against Protus. Dryness photo finish and Nits on that corner there. Unknown One and Zakumi back in the corner. Some shots going out. Not quite sure where they're coming. It's Dryness taking that IS-3 all over the place. Crimson and Overload Prime trying to get some shots across the map through the city. Now, David, are those a particularly hard shot to make? Because Overload Prime looks like he's doing a good job getting pretty close to Zakumi there.
Not particularly hard. It's just mostly up to RNG whether it's actually going to land it exactly where you need it to be.
Gotcha.
The aiming part is easy. The rest, you just pray it hits.
Right. Trying to get a little bounce there on a flak, and then IS-3. We're having J-Smooth backing out at 5100, taking a little bit of damage, shoving 4 shots left, and Pride with 3 on that corner there. Unknown One popping out, getting some good damage on Nits there as he has to back down. There seems a lot of back and forth fighting here around this sort of, central town here. Pride coming out when they turn the turrets on the side. When you have 2 tanks like this, David, in the center, Nits and this IS-3 photo finish, you kind of have, looks like their turrets are turned, one looking down, over to the west, one looking to the east. Again, Nits taking a lot of damage. When you have that, it seems if it's, you're kind of at a disadvantage here as, the other tanks can just pop out. It's a 2-on-2. But here we go. Finally, SIMP making the move. Overload Prime, Crimson, and Brodus on their way to the flank. Let's see if this can pay off for them. If they can get behind Zakumi here, this is going to be a good pickup for them. Zakumi and Unknown One, though, backing up, maybe wising up to what's about to happen. Let's see if they can find him. Zakumi taking another shot into Androxus, 257 points of damage. Clock coming on. Let's see. Here it comes. Overload Prime getting the first shot off. Brodus coming around. Unknown One dropping extremely low. Crimson running on the way through. Brodus getting dropped though himself. J-Smooth taking 500 damage. There's a lot going on back here. Executus also over on the north finding Androxus getting on the corner, but himself getting extremely low. One more shot. He will go on Unknown One though, finding Brodus. And Executus has to get out of there. Steinpride gonna also pick up Nits. That is 2 tanks for the side of Synrgy going down to SIMP going down. For Synrgy Gaming, and now Potato also picking up Overload Prime, Flag picking up Androxus, kill after kill after kill coming in for Synrgy Gaming. Crimson trying to respond by taking Potato now, but J-Smooth coming around the corner. Dryness going to find Flag, but the response will be Executus to photo finish, and Unknown One going to find Crimson. Just Dryness is going to be left for the side of Synrgy Gaming, doing a great job coming out on the exchange on top.
That was just a very strange, multifaceted fight. Too much separation for SIMP. Synrgy doing a great job managing it, recognizing the 5100 that was there trying to boss them off that corner was alone, and just taking their time, sharing the amount of damage he did, easily picking him up, which put a lot of the rest of the fight pretty securely in their hands. Just kind of a questionable defensive formation from SIMP. Interesting overall. Good match, Synrgy.
Yeah,
let's not forget to point out. Yeah, 2-2. I don't know a whole lot of what to say about that. I didn't think that both teams would lose both their defenses.
Yeah.
It seemed to me like it wouldn't be, like Synrgy would probably hold their defenses.
Okay.
But I bet they're missing that second match right now, knowing that they gave it up. They'd be up 3-1 right now if they hadn't done that, showing clear domination on Ghost Town, and thus a good map pick on their choice, or map they prevented the ban. Perhaps something that SIMP should have spent a ban on.
Okay. Now talking a little bit about this map, I know we were saying how earlier on we thought it was going to be, did you say it was going to favor the offense? Or favor the defense?
I think it does favor the offense in the north, and then you can get kind of meta with how it responds. But anytime something favors the offense, enough to, certain offensive options develop, and then it starts to favor defense as they know what offense is going to do. I think we have the time right now. And because it's important, let's get back to how maps are picked. So the coin flip determines whoever wins the coin flip gets to choose between one of 2 things. They either get to choose the first map to ban or what role they want to play on that map, so offense or defense, right? Then, from there, both teams go and choose back and forth who maps that they ban, which leaves 2 remaining. And then it gets down to whichever team picks the first map ban also gets to pick the first map that's played. Oh. And then the other team picks the role they want to be on it. So in this instance, I believe that Synrgy got to choose the first map that was played, which was Ghost Town, and that SIMP actually chose to assault them first, which I find a little bit strange. The whole situation is a little bit strange.
Okay.
They either had a plan for Ghost Town and wanted to play Synrgy on Ghost Town, or it just kind of slipped through. Personally, after seeing Synrgy play Ghost Town so much, that would have been one of my first bans. It's been like, no, you can't have that.
Sure.
We'll play something else.
Sure. Looks like they didn't do that. But upcoming now we have Mines going into this. David, which team do you think has the slider advantage onto this next map? From what we've seen so far.
It should be SIMP.
Okay.
It should be. But Synrgy is playing better than SIMP. I mean, it's not just strategy. It's not just Ghost Town. Yeah. Synrgy is playing better than SIMP right now entirely.
All right, well, let's see if they can continue that victory against SIMP, or if SIMP can turn it back on against Synrgy Gaming as we're into our 5th battle of our first match of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, on to Mines. SIMP's going to be starting on the defense, Synrgy Gaming on the offense. Let's take a look at what do we got for tanks.
SIMP with a 5100, 3 IS-3s, an Object 416, a T-54 lightweight, and a T-37. That is an incredibly heavy lineup for a defense on Mines. Meanwhile, Synrgy and IS-3, 5 T-54 lightweights, and a T-37, a much more reasonable lineup for this map, in my opinion.
Okay.
We'll see what SIMP does with their overall defense. They really need to take the hill and put those IS-3s in places where they can defend a lot of different ways and then be able to roll off of it, or they're going to be in some serious trouble as they get out-rotated by those 54s.
Let's see over here on the hill, Overload Prime trying to get some shots into the side of Synrgy Gaming as they're pushing the 4 T-54s on top of the hill. Not a lot of damage coming through on the side. Here comes those IS-3s in response. David, like you were talking about, let's see if they can do the damage that is needed to claim this hill. Zakumi coming a little late to the party in the IS-3, a little bit slower than the rest of his tanks. He is not in a good position right now as the turrets are turned to him. Let's see if the shots start coming off. And Droxus, Overload Prime getting the first one, but a lot of bounces coming out. No damage done at all. Now Zakumi pushing up. Let's see if he can defend his teammates. Another shot coming out, 407 points of damage. J-Smooth, the moderator, Unknown and Executives now on top of the hill. They've been repositioning. Unknown taking a good chunk of damage, getting dropped below half health there. And a lot of tanks now pushing up for SIMP. They're going to try to find Overload Prime and Brodos now looking for Zakumi, who's bouncing another shot. Pride doing a great job in the back, but photo finish. Getting a good pickup on Unknown, thinning those tanks out on top, and now pushing in with the heavier tanks. Executives is in a lot of trouble. Overload Prime finds Zakumi down the bottom. Let's see if these 3 tanks on top are safe or if they need to get out of there. Executives looks like he's going to bail off the hill. There he goes. Not quite yet, but he finally does it as the hill has been overrun. SIMP going to be picking up this one. Now just 2 tanks on top. They need to get out of there quickly. Moderator getting dropped extremely low. He gets almost destroyed by his own falling damage. J-Smooth also going down there, getting dropped below half. And SIMP are on the run. They do not want to let these tanks get away with such low health. Overload Prime going to be coming. Goes for a ram and gets the kill. Overload Prime picking up J-Smooth. Now just 3 tanks remain on the side of Synrgy Gaming. Moderator extremely low as he tries to run that T-54 lightweight. Flack over in the corner down that K1 line, not doing a lot for his team. Maybe just trying to run and get out of there. And Pride trying to take the shots into the back. Gets a little bit of damage on Overload Prime. I believe that was just a track there. And Dryden's on top. They know where Moderator is at. They are proxy spotting him. And it's just a matter of time before SIMP cleans this one up.
You are exactly right on that. Droxus, Goomba from the top ropes down on the moderator, but he is now stuck, and he will likely pay the price for that as Pride starts picking him up a little bit. But like you said, this is over. I mean, this is SIMP's match. Now, obvious what they were going for there. A lot of hit points and just shoving him right up the middle.
Yeah.
But that's not something, and it may lead you astray to look at that right now and say, why doesn't every team just do that? Wouldn't you just annihilate your opponent every single time you do it? No, not really. And I guarantee you, well, maybe not comfortable saying guarantee at this point in time, but if they were to do it exact same way again, I think Synrgy would handle it a lot better.
Okay.
What needs to happen, I think Synrgy put too many 54s up top. You don't need that many, especially when SIMP is only bringing 1. I believe, of their own. They brought a 54 and an Object 416. You don't need to send more than 2, maybe 3 up there. The rest need to be in positions to shoot anything that goes up there, like those IS-3s.
Okay.
When they're all on top, there was absolutely nothing they could do about it.
Oh, there it goes.
Because
sorry,
go ahead.
I was just saying, SIMP getting a good pickup there, making sure we got it now 3-2 on the side. But continue your thought.
So what I was saying is, as those IS-3s are trying to get up over there, they're kind of hull down on the 54s. And if the 54s are pushed up trying to shoot things that come up, you're going to get a lot of bounces, which is what SIMP is trying to get them to do in that instance, and it worked.
Yeah.
Now, if they're more recessed in many of the areas where you have shots on things as they go uphill, that's just free damage for you.
Right.
You take a couple pot shots on them as they go up with all the surrounding positions. You don't have to worry about them diving over and taking out your IS-3 where Zakumi was.
Okay.
Which I believe is why most of them were gathered trying to fight those IS-3s. They knew if they backed off, Zakumi was dead.
Gotcha.
So there's not enough support in that situation. All they should have done is farm some damage,
Okay.
pulled off the hill, found another way to get another fight, and with a lot of Simp's HP bled away and just a lower amount of movement, that should have been in Synrgy's hands. But that's a tricky thing to play, and it's something you have to lose to that before you figure out how to handle it in the future.
Gotcha. Now coming on the side of Simp, as you see them taking those IS3s, pushing up on the hill, would it be better in that position for Synrgy just to let them have the hill and just decide to pull it off, or would Simp, once they got to a certain level, realize that no one's up there and maybe come up with a new strategy?
Simp will keep taking the hill no matter what.
Okay, that's their goal.
Right, and I think yeah, you want to let them have the hill. You just want to make them pay for it as much as you can before you rotate off and go someplace else, probably into the west. And then you can do the 1-2 cap that we've seen so far. And then IS-3s have to peek around corners and shoot you. And once you see where IS-3s go, you know they're not moving anywhere else particularly quickly.
Sure.
So then you take the rest of your tanks, you find an isolation, you dump it on, and you win. Assuming you see IS-3s spread north and south on the hill or something, you know that they can't drive over there that quickly. So it's just a skill play situation, and it's hard to develop those skills, but it's vital. You have to. I still don't think Simp has a reasonable lineup in this situation, but it worked, and we'll see if it can work again.
All right, let's see, ladies and gentlemen, as we're into our next battle here. Simp still on defense, Synrgy still on the offense. Let's see, like David was saying, if the lineup can work, if they can take that hill, or if Synrgy can learn from their mistakes and turn this one around as we're getting right into the battle. David, what do we got for tanks?
Well, for Simp, we have the same lineup, 150, 100, 3 IS-3s, a 416, a T-54 lightweight, and a T-37. Also the same lineup for Synrgy Gaming, an IS-3, 5 T-54 lightweights, and a T-37. See if they use it better this time.
Yeah, looks like they are. Looks like they decided not to go for that hill at all, as they're sending most of their members, just leaving Flak behind, over to this western side. I think we were talking about how this is something that Synrgy should be doing. Simp, though, like you also said, maintaining that position, just going for the hill. Crimson being spotted, as well as the 3 members over here for Synrgy Gaming. Shots going up, nothing connecting. Finally, a shot onto Executus for 405 points of damage. Now, David, with that little bit of information that Simp just got, how does that help them? And now it looks like they are already readjusting.
All they have to do is create a spread defense here, and it wouldn't be particularly hard for them to stop what Synrgy Gaming's trying to do. They just need to make sure they have enough IS-3 presence on the top of the hill to fire into the south should those 354s push through and try and take some sort of southern area, especially against Overlord Prime, who is he's kind of by himself, but Simp is doing a very interesting spread. The only thing that makes sense to me is that is a meta push. Like, they absolutely know that Synrgy isn't going to try and do anything aggressive right now, because putting that many tanks, putting Brodus and Crimson all the way out of the fight in this situation is a huge gamble. But Flak lighting them from A4. Synrgy now knows where these tanks are, and we'll see if they can take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Let's see how quickly they can respond to this, or if they're just going to let one of their teammates die for nothing, as 55 seconds are now onto the cap. 5 minutes and 20 seconds overall in the game. Let's see if the resets come out. Nothing yet. Crimson and Brodus still fighting over in the north against Flak. Moderator is being spotted out over here. Looks like on the side of Photo Finish. Overlord Prime now coming over the corner. A good little spot for no one to be. Just kind of drop down behind those rocks there as he's taking shots all the way across the map. Crimson getting dropped a little bit from shots coming from all over. Shots back in the back. Flak is getting dropped below half health, and that T-37 looks like a lot of damage coming out, and Flak, but will find Crimson before he goes down himself. Over now, the shots are responding. Synrgy Gaming, a lot of shots going over to the AMX 5100. Brodus is back out as he just lost his battle buddy. J-Smooth getting a nice shot over there, and Flak surviving and getting up on the hill. Now losing a tank like that on the side of Simp, as they were trying to make this, like we're saying, meta push, how does that kind of stop that whole thing in its tracks, and what do you think we're going to see Simp try to respond to?
I have no idea. I honestly don't completely understand what either team is going for. I don't think Simp really has to respond that much.
Okay.
All they have to do is reset Takumi, and we've seen a number of times that there are ways of doing that from, say, where Nitz is, or just from the south. There's a lot of different places. Overlord Prime and Nitz can shut that down completely. There are a lot of tanks of Synrgy Gaming that are just sort of being wasted right now. And I think they're there to maybe snipe Nitz when Nitz tries to reset. But that's a lot of hardware to leave in one place looking for that.
As we were talking about shots going out from Overlord Prime, The cap now down to 30 seconds. Looking Nick's to be the one to try to reset it. He does. He gets the shot off. 424 points. And just like that, the cap has been reset. Steinpride also taking a lot of damage down here in the south. From some good shots from Androxus there. Those IS-3s, Flack still in the back, kind of facing Brodus off. And no one taking some good damage over there on the island. And Nitz, though, getting extremely low. Maybe one more shot from there. Now, David, talking about the IS-3s, you know, with the bad, or the poor, I shouldn't say bad, but the poor gun depression coming from the IS-3s, do you think there's a better tank maybe to be in that position to reset Zakumi down there?
No, the amount of depression that they need, it would be worse to bring a T-32, and that's really the only other viable option. Right there, Synrgy pointing out exactly what we were talking about. They have a lot of those tanks down there to reset that. It is a lot of hardware, but it almost worked flawlessly. They got a track, probably a double track, that kept Nitz there for long enough, almost long enough to kill him. Had they killed him, then it would have been exactly working as intended. But as it is now, Zakumi can still be reset, and it's debatable. I'll put it that way. It's not bad. It's just debatable. Here we go.
There it is. Well, it's not debatable at all. As Zakumi getting reset again. But that looks like it was a trigger that Synrgy Gaming needed as they're pushing the 4 tanks over to Overload Prime. He's got to get out of there quickly or he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Moderate taking a little bit of damage on the way over. Executive's taking the lower road, now trying to find some cover behind the rocks. Drynitz finding Flack finally in the back there, opening up that northern cap for the side of Simp. Now down to 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Overload Prime making it out of there safe. And now Synrgy Gaming having 3 members down here in this K5 area. And now, David, where these tanks are positioned, who would you rather be right now, Simp or Synrgy Gaming, as Executive below half in his health?
Personally, I'd rather be Synrgy. They have a much better chance to win, but they have to execute correctly, and Simp is making some counter moves right now that could bring him back in the game, but it should be Synrgy's.
Absolutely. Photo finish now getting caught out. He has one more shot, and hopefully he won't go down too soon unless Simp can go. He will. A no one finding it in that T-54, and not a response. It looks like from Simp, some shots going off against Overload Prime, getting some shots on a known one. But it looked like it bounced right off that T-54. Dryness now taking some damage against J-Smooth. Let's see who's going to come out on top of this one. J-Smooth on the reload. One more shot. He will take it. Dryness going down, and another tank falling on the side of Simp. It is now 6v4. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 tanks on the side of Simp as Brodus and that AMX 5100 taking a good chunk of damage. Down to 1 minute and 13 seconds. Simp, all they have to do is defend. Synrgy Gaming now forgetting the cap and just putting the pressure on. J-Smooth looks like he's going to maintain that D1 area, getting ready for a flank if needed. Any tanks trying to run off the hill. Androxus looks like he's going to be the next focus. Zakumi with the shot ready. He takes it, but it bounces. Androxus now getting ready. Executus though, finding over the prime, and no one going to pick it up. 2 tanks remain, 50 seconds. Simp got to hold on. Brodus doing a good job holding the hill, finding Zakumi, but now with one more shot, let's see if he can make it count. J-Smooth probably should be the target. J-Smooth though going to find Niz, and it is just one more. Synrgy Gaming looks like they're going to pick this one up as only Simp has 36 seconds to survive, but 5 tanks. Moving on to Brodus' position. One more shot. Here comes the next one. Executives picking it up, and a victory going to Synrgy Gaming, tying it back up 3 on 3 here into Mines.
An uncomfortable but good win for Synrgy.
Okay.
I mean, like I said.
Explain that a little bit.
So there are things that I personally don't think were the best option, but they were clearly good options and they worked. I'm not just more confusing to me overall, and I would not be surprised if this was the case for J-Smooth. A lot of the moves that Simp was making, their responses and whatnot, were confusing to me.
Okay.
And if I were in Smooth's position while that was going
what
on,
the heck?
I wouldn't quite know what to do with it. And it would probably cause me to hesitate a little bit, like, no, there's no way they're just sending this guy at me. Like, what is the trap here? Can there be a trap? And then you kind of look at the map and you're like, no. No.
Do they find something? Do they find a tunnel?
There's something that's got to be going. Oh, whatever. Just push him. And then you kill him. You're like, oh, well no.
It worked. I was right.
They just made a mistake.
Yeah.
I think they should have contested hill a little bit. Done a little bit of damage there. Yes.
Okay.
And then rotated in the southwest and did largely what they did. It worked. They caught the reset they needed to catch.
Yeah.
I'm speechless. This is one of the weirdest matches we've seen so far.
Okay. I want to go back to what you're talking about, J-Smooth, being in position of being, like you're saying, a caller, trying to make sure he knows what's happening, having to be like, someone who's very flexible in a game to, look at the map, make sure they know what's going on. Does it come down to, obviously I should say it does come down to, but emphasize for me the the quicker that he can do it, the quicker that he can make a call, correct or incorrect, does that really play to, how the match might go in favor for them? Because if he were to make that call later.
Well, definitely, because especially in how quickly you respond to stuff, because the time it takes you between the information you get and the decision you make, that amount of time can cause that information to become what we used to call stale. If you see a tank and you don't move on him for 20 seconds, he could be 20 seconds later someplace else.
Sure.
So you need to make decisions quickly. You need to find where you want to go. Smooth made a lot of great decisions in that whole thing. And I other than that, like I said, I really don't understand a whole lot of what I just saw.
All right, well, let's see if we can clear things up in this next battle, ladies and gentlemen. As we're into our next one, Simp versus Synrgy Gaming. We have now switched sides. Synrgy is going to be on the defense, Simp on the offense. Let's get right into it and check out David. What do we got for tanks?
For Simp, we have a 5100, an IS-3, 4 T-54 lightweights, and an M44 driven by Crimson Corsair. I know he can play Artie. We'll see if he can live up to Ox Mathis.
All right.
Synrgy Gaming with a T-32, 5 T-54 lightweights, and a T-37. Very interested to see what they do on defense. It looks like they will take Hill to some extent, which they would be well suited to do. Simp ignoring Hill, going into the west. They might be able to get shots on Hill if they go there quickly. If not, it's kind of a head-scratching moment for me is why nobody is trying to get early damage like that.
And there it goes.
As Smooth, Unknown One, and Executus go up for free.
Yeah.
The shots aren't great, but they're there, and they're certainly worth taking. Looks like Overlord Prime and Nitz tried to take him from some angles that I don't know if they work so much anymore against 54 lightweights, which are a lot lower to the ground than tanks that you used to try and shoot from those angles. Drynitz sitting all the way in the back in B2. More of a defensive position in the northwest going on here. Simp running through some stages of a strategy that is yet to kind of unfold itself. And Synrgy looking rather good for a defense. I mean, they have every position they need to have. They're readjusting Pride to support Flak. This is looking good for Synrgy right now. All they need to do is reset and wait.
Yeah, a lot of damage also going on the side of Nitz there, and to Overload Prime. And those T-54s up on the Lighthouse Island. Looks like they're moving out from that position, knowing they take a good chunk of damage. And Droxus taking some shots. But Moderator getting a good chunk of damage. Going to drop below half. He needs to find a place to get safe, or he's going to take some more damage from that Artie. I believe that was Crimson who made that shot. A beautiful shot there coming in. Zakumi in the T-32 trying to back his friend up. J Smooth takes some getting some damage off as well. And the cap only down to 60 seconds. There's another Artie shot going through, and J Smooth going to be on the receiving end of that one, getting dropped to below half himself. Crimson doing a great job back here, that A4 position in that Artie.
Well, there's the unveiling of the strategy I was referring to.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. Protect Crimson, get vision, and let him shoot stuff until you have an entrance into actual aggressive moves here. Oh. And it's working.
Another shot going off, just barely missing Moderator. Would have been a great pickup there. But again, getting good damage. Hopefully the damage that they needed. Zakumi taking 253 points as well. Executus up over in the north, trying to find a response, but he's gotten scared out, backing off now to the village. Moderator going all the way back, it looks like almost to the base from whence they started. And Executus wrapping around the side. It looks like we have a big grouping up here for Synrgy Gaming. Now, David, if you now hopefully they know what's going on. 21 seconds now on the clock. Pride taking a good chunk of damage.
This could be huge.
They're moving in now. Let's see if they can make the response that is needed. Over the Prime, over in the corner, along with Brodus and Nitz, trying to be the response. 12 seconds now on the clock. Now down to 5. They put it on Executus, getting the shot, or Zakumi, excuse me, getting a shot, getting a good reset that was needed. But over the corner, Pride finding Nitz, but being dropped extremely low himself. One more shot, and he will go down. Brodus might be the one to pick it up. He does. Pride going down. Now it's a 2-on-2. Overload Prime and Brodus versus Unknown One and J Smooth over here in the corner. J Smooth gonna find Overload Prime, but photo finish over off on the north, finding Zakumi. And Droxus also finding Flax now. Simp taking the lead by one more tank. Brodus also finding Unknown One, so now it is 5-on-3. A great pickup for Simp. J Smooth and Brodus over in the corner. Moderator extremely low. Drynitz and Androxus over against Executus. And that T-54, the shot coming out, not getting hit, but J Smooth going down. Photo finish, finding Executus. And now just 2 tanks remain for 1 shot each on the side of Synrgy Gaming. Simp, a great job there, picking up photo finish, finding J Smooth, and now just Moderator remains as Photo and Droxus Dryness going in. Let's see if Crimson can find this last one as well to kind of end it on this beautiful artillery rain he's been going on for this match. No, it looks like Photo finishing the one to run up around, taking the shot. He picks it up, and Simp going 4-3 now against Synrgy. David, let's talk about that, because that was a great, I mean, that was fun to watch from Simp.
That was fun to watch from both sides, actually, and that match made me feel better. I mean, the last match I was like, is there just a lot of stuff that I don't know anymore? Or
Yeah.
no, I think what was going on last match is both teams actually confused each other.
Huh.
And I was just picking up on all that, because this match, both teams came out with decisive moves.
Gotcha.
I think Synrgy was not expecting to take that much damage from the artillery, and had they not, that might have been a very different fight. Their aggressive defensive move to try and assault that southwest corner where the 254s was the right call to make, given the intelligence that they had at the time. Just got word that Synrgy is taking a timeout. Very, very good, considering they only have it's 4-3.
Yep.
And they can't afford to lose a single more.
Yep.
They need to win too. As we were saying, that with the intelligence they had, knowing how many tanks were there and the fact they could overwhelm it, that's a good decision.
Okay.
I think the amount of hit points they had and exactly how they did it could have been refined a little bit more, but clearly Crimson Corsair contributing quite a bit to that match.
Absolutely.
So let's go to the stats.
Let's do it.
Because
First time tonight.
What we saw was super important.
All right.
So actually it's Photo finish, shooting 8 for 8 for 8, which is pretty huge. Crimson then,
Wow.
with 6 shots, half of which hit and 2 of which penetrated. That's pretty ridiculous. I believe he was firing heat to get numbers along those lines. Just great.
Yeah.
Great shooting in general. Both the shots that he hit really mattered. Moderator doing a great job as well. 10 shots, 9 hits, 7 penetrations. I felt really bad for him, especially really well for him, especially considering how lit up he got in the beginning. He got tagged by the artillery.
Yep.
And 54s that were crossing the water.
Yeah.
I mean, that shot that they hit, 2 of those guys hit him when they were driving across.
Wow. On the move.
It's unlikely. If I were a moderator, I'd be upset about it because it really just shouldn't happen that often, let alone have 2 of them connect at the same time and artillery connects like
Dang
that.
it.
And I believe that Simp did tap on the brakes a little bit, but whatever. Great decisions from both teams in a lot of ways. Okay. And I'm excited. That was a good match.
You're like, oh, I kind of restored the faith
match.
into what was happening tonight.
Yeah.
One thing I also want to point out too is Simp bringing that artillery and making it really count. If you're on the side of Synrgy, looking at when is it that okay, this is their plan. Like you say, it was tough for us to figure it out at first, and they don't have the aerial view that we have. So when you see an artillery brought, are there certain options that obviously that the other team is being limited to, and going like, okay, which one do we have? How long can we figure this out?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the plan is obvious to a certain extent as soon as they bring out the artillery, but so far we haven't even seen teams like High Voltage with Ox Mathis heavily relying on that artillery. A lot of the time it's just a replacement for their Tier 6 Scout, and then it just contributes damage, and
Gotcha.
Ox is known for contributing a lot, right? That was an older style strategy from what I'm used to seeing. And it was much more arty-centric, where that was the main goal of things instead of a contributing factor.
Like the Scout Arty combo.
Right, and I think it worked for him. I don't know if it'll work again because I think Synrgy will be much more on their guard to make sure they don't get pegged by those. So it's going to come down to new positions for Crimson if they even bring him in an artillery, but we'll see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're into our next battle, Simp versus Synrgy Gaming. Simp just needing doing one more. Synrgy coming off a timeout. Let's see if they can hold on and bring it to our first tiebreaker match of the week as we're into our battle. Simp on offense, Synrgy Gaming on defense. David, what do we got for our tanks?
Well, for Simp, we have an IS-3, a 416, a T-69, which we haven't seen in quite a while, 3 T-54 lightweights, and a T-37. They dropped the Arty. I think that's probably a smart idea. Meanwhile, Synrgy with 2 Pershings, 4 T-54 lightweights, and a T-37. Not 100% sold in the Pershings, but we'll see what they do with them.
Looks like Simp now taking your advice, trying to get up onto this hill, trying to control it, and make sure Synrgy Gaming does not this time. As J-Spoo gets up, sees the tanks, and backs right off over the Prime, and Zakumi exchanging some shots there, and no one moving up, trying to get behind this rock here. More shots going out. One bounces, but another one connects for 266 points of damage. He does some himself against Overload Prime, and it seems that we got a little stalemate up here, up on top of the hill. Simp, looks like they're focusing their fire down here onto Zakumi, who's dropped now below half health, 497 points of damage. a couple more shots, he will go down. He's got to be careful here. Let's see if Synrgy Gaming can defend him. Unknown one getting a good amount of damage on Overload Prime there. More shots going out against Moderator. And now Overload Prime getting dropped extremely low. Looks like he's about one more shot. He is backing out there, making sure that he doesn't go down. Brodus stepping up, trying to share that HP with his teammate here. Only Flak and Pride not on the hill for the side of Synrgy, and just Crimson on the side of SIMP, not on the hill. Now, Dave, when you spend so much time up here on top of this hill for both teams, what are you looking for before you just kind of give up and decide to, maybe push around or send some tanks elsewhere?
Neither one can give up with this many tanks pushed to where they are right now. They'd suffer too much damage falling back. I think SIMP could do it a little bit easier than Synrgy, but Synrgy is actually sending Pride over to take out Crimson Corsair in the west.
Getting a lot of a good amount of damage from that ram there, and Pride gonna pick up Crimson. A good response there for Synrgy Gaming. Zakumi taking a little bit of damage as he backs off the hill, knowing that his life can be spared and will. Overload Prime and Nits were on their way over to that eastern village, but now have come back, maybe due to that loss of Crimson Corsair. Now Brodus moving up. They're trying to, it looks like they're trying to make sure that they can cap this hill as they're sending the rest of their tanks up. Dryan is coming in from behind. He's going to be in the back of the train. Photo finish, taking a lot of damage. Executive is going to be going to pick him up. And Unknown one more shot himself. Let's see if they can clean this one up. Brodus is on the reload. Let's see if he can find it. No, he misses the shot, but Drynitz is going to pick that one up over from the back there. Nits, though, himself taking a lot of damage, and Pride coming in from behind. A beautiful flank there for Synrgy Gaming. SIMP caught on top of the hill. Pride finding Overload Pride from behind. Now Nits and Androxus low. Brodus himself, J-Smooth and Executus very healthy. A shot coming out from them. Flak stepping back. Zakumi and Moderator also backing up the hill, and it looks like Synrgy Gaming are in control of this hill at the moment. But it seems that Dryness is going to try to object to that as he comes around the corner off the hill in that Object 416, finding the member of Synrgy Gaming, making sure that they can relieve some pressure from that northern push.
1200 HP advantage for Synrgy Gaming. The loss of Pride was a significant problem there. Once they got him in behind, it had every reason to keep the pressure up mid, but they backed off. Giving SIMP a little bit of wiggle room to get back in this, but so far I saw some great stuff from Synrgy that we can talk about once this match is over. I don't know how much longer this whole dance can keep going on. That's a huge shot from Executus on Drynitz. Every shot they can get into Drynitz right now is another nail in SIMP's coffin for this game, as Drynitz is the only one with expendable hit points. You take them away, and they have no more reliable introduction, and basically Synrgy can pull back even further and just snipe you anywhere you go. Moderator coming around on the western flank. Not too huge of an angle, but enough of one to get some shots. Huge pickup by Nits.
Nits doing a great job finding Zakumi there, evening the tanks out to 4-on-4, but the lead of health still in the favor of Synrgy Gaming. Dave, like you were saying, let's see if they can keep Drynitz healthy in that Object 416. Moderator over there in that J1 line. Nits in that E1 line, trying to hold each other accountable for the damage that's coming across it. And Droxus finding Executus. Another great pickup onto the side of SIMP, trying to claw the way back, trying to lessen the gap of this HP lead that Synrgy has over them. Moderator takes some shots, missing Drynitz. Now when Droxus and Brodus holding that hill. It's like Flak and J-Smooth now giving up the ramp. Moderator moving on to Nits there. Now David coming in, as we've seen Drynitz, that Object 416, saying he is the member, just kind of keep healthy to watch out, or to look out for the side of SIMP. Synrgy Gaming, how tough is it to try to be, try to go against him now with just 3 tanks and Flak taking 260 points of damage?
Well, it's basically just 2 tanks. That T-37 is not good enough to measure up in this fight in comparison to the Tier 8s. And that was one thing worth pointing out, is even though Synrgy did have an HP lead, one of their tanks was not nearly as good as the tanks that SIMP is using right now. That pickup by Nits in the west was one of the most important moments of this battle. Before that, Pride going down, all of these things starting to tilt back in SIMP's favor. SIMP choosing a little bit better angles, but they have a minute and 45 to see if they can capitalize on it. Drynitz pushing down the 8-9, going into a 2v1. I don't know if he can survive this, but we are about to find out.
That's right. Pushing extremely aggressively in here against J-Smooth and Flak. as we decide to back out. Wait for now. Combo on top. 2 shots going in. 364 points of damage and 317 going to Flak. But Dryness is continuing to take damage. Let's see if they can bait him out long enough for Brodus and Androxus to help. J-Smooth playing extremely wise and not pushing out any further, knowing that he would expose himself. But 1:15 left, and Simp being on offense, they are the ones that have to make the move. But J-Smooth picking up Androxus, a great pickup there for that T-54, and Flak picking up Dryness. Another great victory for Synrgy Gaming, as the two the two highest HP tanks for the side of Simp have just gone down. It is now a 3-on-2. Nits and Brodus over here. 52 seconds to go. Simp, it's going to be interesting to see what they do here, as time is not on their side. They do not have enough time for cap. Brodus running in. Let's see the action ensues. He's going to try to find one of these tanks. Let's see if his shots can count without taking any return. Going in. Flak being smart, trying to find a good little place to hide. He is on defense. They just have to stay alive. Brodus finding J-Smooth. Nits now pushing in himself. Brodus looks like he has a good inclination of where Flak is in that T-37. He's rushing in. Flak needs to stay alive. 22 seconds left. Nits also running to find Moderator. It is now coming down to the wire here, as Brodus and Flak doing a little dance behind this. And Flak going up, but Brodus getting a good shot and pickup. It is now just Moderator alive, but he is full health. It is Nits and Brodus have to find him, but with just 6 seconds, I'm not sure there's much that they can do. Moderator has a great lead. He just needs to run. A shot going down, but the clock has run out. Synrgy Gaming do a great job defending, tying it up, going into our first tiebreaker match of this week. David, let's talk about that game, because that went to the last seconds of it.
What? Just huge middle fight going on for the longest period of time.
Yeah.
So many trades back and
couple minutes.
forth. So many key picks, so many huge throws, just an absolute mess of a game. Synrgy making some fantastic plays, especially moving Pride up the west, getting in behind that flank, but they failed to capitalize on that moment.
Yeah.
And then after that, I may have been able to describe it a little bit better until I saw Flak leave J-Smooth, which seemed like a good idea until he was so far in the back that he couldn't support J-Smooth.
Right.
I thought they were going to kind of do a crossfire thing where if you try to get an angle on J-Smooth, you get shot in the side by Flak, and they could hold out a little bit longer with Moderator on the back guarding the other side of J-Smooth. It's a classic defensive situation I've seen 100 times, but they started running from the fight for a solid 45 seconds left on the clock, and that is a huge gamble. I mean, just an absolute massive gamble. Moderator running away there at the end. Pulled up a little short for whatever reason. Just, like I said, an absolute mess of a battle. Even the stats don't clarify that whole thing. Numbers are surprisingly lower than you would expect.
Huh. For a long battle like that.
For a long battle like, well, I mean, there's only a certain number of hit points that you can do in that whole thing. But we just got an interesting message.
Yeah. Synrgy picking defense. Looks like they were the one who won. Now let's explain that a little bit. So when it goes into a tiebreaker.
On steps.
On steps. So,
yes.
Which is heavily in the defensive favor. But again, for the audience, just explaining how that works. So if it does go into a tiebreaker match, it is the one who I believe had the most damage while they were on the offense for both of the previous maps are the ones who get to choose. Am I correct?
From what I understand, it is whoever has the fastest assault time.
Oh.
Or I think if it falls back to nobody wanted assault, then perhaps what you were talking about is typically a very complicated rule with a number of things. So it should be whoever has the fastest assault time. If they actually did cap, say they cap in 2 minutes, then they just get it. If not, then it's whoever had the most damage on assault, as you were discussing before.
Gotcha.
So in this instance, Synrgy came out on top.
Wow, good for them.
Simp going into a tiebreaker situation against on steps on offense. That is not a good position. At all.
Yeah, I mean, if you were in Simp's position, going against obviously a map that is highly in favor of defense, are you going to try to go for something that you've done over and over again, or do you think you're going to try to mix it up against a team who's very established over in that Eastern cap or that Northern cap?
The only reliable offense I see at this point in time is bringing in artillery, defending it, trying to get damage on whatever camp Synrgy has set up, and then pushing it. If you're doing anything aggressive, super aggressive on steps, you're out of your mind right now. Unless it's been rehearsed and you know it's going to work, you don't run that kind of thing. The artillery will work. It just has to hit its shots, but it will work. So that's what it comes down to, and it all depends on if Crimson can hit his shots, if they even bring him. we know he can.
Yeah. Well, let's see if, David, if your foresight is as good as it normally is, as we're into our now tiebreaker match, our tiebreaker battle. SIMP versus Synrgy Gaming. SIMP 4-4 against Synrgy Gaming. I just keep saying the same thing for tiebreakers. Let's see if they can take it. It is now the longest and only tiebreaker match we've had this week. We are into the battle. SIMP, like we were talking about, on offense. Synrgy Gaming on defense. David, there's that Artie. What do we got for takes?
There it is. 3 IS-3s, an AMX 1390, 2 T-54 lightweights, and an M44. The match pretty much rests on Crimson's shoulders right now.
Wow.
Synrgy Gaming with a T-32, 5 T-54 lightweights, and a 59-16. Spreading out on the eastern side, they're going to have to make some sort of counter-aggressive move the instant they see the opening, but both teams going to the east, that is not something I would have expected with an artillery. Let's see if SIMP has the proper positions and the proper planning to actually make that thing work from here.
And we talked about how the Eastern Cap, you're saying, is probably one of the harder ones to assault off the bat, as most of the teams, on defense go to that, hold on to that side. And they're doing an extremely aggressive push, though. Synrgy Gaming going a lot further than we see most of their teams, going straight for the back, and a battle already happening. Moderate taking a lot of damage, getting cut in front of Pride. 716 dropping below half, and they're rushing to these three members. Jay Smooth getting annihilated. Photo finish, a great pickup there as they're rushing to the back. Executus now going for the one. They're running right for Dry Knights in that 1390. He is getting as much a shot as he can. Executus with a great amount of ram damage. Moderate getting extremely low. He was one more shot. Let's see if they can pick it up before he has anything to say. Brodus can be able to find this. Tanks dropping left and right. Extremely aggressive play coming out for Synrgy Gaming on defense here. Not sure if it's going to work out for them, as Nis going to find Executive, Pride being the one to remain. Flak, a no one, and Zakumi trying to run in to help their teammates. Pride with a great pickup there against it. But it is now 5-3 in favor of SIMP. Pride going down. And now just unknown one, Zakumi and Flak left. Bounces going off to photo finish in the IS-3. And Crimson Corsair in the M44 still alive. Flak looks like he's the one who is trying to find him. But a very decisive push for SIMP here, as they know that they have the HP lead, they have the tank lead, and they're running in on Zakumi. A shot coming out on Crimson, not connecting, getting extremely close to that T-32. And now Crimson himself in a little bit of trouble, as Flak in that 59-16 getting some good chunks of damage. Let's see if Crimson gonna have the shot up in time to pull a little tank destroyer action. No, he's making out of there, and over here is Zakumi taking some shots. Photo finish, and Brodus coming around the corner trying to finish him off. Crimson Corsair finds safety on no one. Gonna try to turn around to help his teammate, but I'm not sure there's anything that they can do besides that, because Synrgy Gaming only has 2 members. SIMP, a great response to it, a very aggressive opening for Synrgy Gaming. On no one is gonna finally find Crimson. He did get a shot off. Not sure if anything connected. And now the rest of the team running in a major chunk of damage. 389, dropping Flak below half. Brodus, he is on the hunt. He wants to end this game out, and it looks like SIMP is going to take this. As Unknown One just going for a little dance. 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Taking a good shot there. One more shot. He will go down. Brodus almost done with the reload. There it is. And Adrox's photo finish coming in to finish on a Flak on the run. He is on defense. Maybe, David, he's going to try to run for 4 minutes, but I'm not sure that that's going to work out too well for him. Brodus picking up an 0-1. And now it is just Flak. He's all by himself. David, what can he do?
Nothing. I mean,
yeah.
he can't run forever, because all SIMP is going to do is take all 3 of those IS-3s and put them on cap. If they had been able to take out Brodus, and there were, say, 2 54s left,
maybe,
then this could be going back into Synrgy's hands. But as it is now, unfortunately for Synrgy Gaming, it's just a wait till the finish.
Whew.
SIMP, photo finish, Adroxis, Overlord Prime coming down the middle.
Yeah.
Simply going to get on cap. And that should be all she wrote for this match.
Now, while we have this little bit of time to talk about it, what do you think about that opening from Synrgy Gaming? I mean, that aggressive push.
There is only one thing I can think of in this entire thing, and it's that these teams have been practicing each other, which would not surprise me at all. They know each other. I mean, they come from the same clan, largely.
Okay.
And that SIMP laid a trap for Synrgy, because the positions they were in are pretty good for defending. They're pretty good. I can kind of see where they were going for it in general, but it usually would not work out nearly as well as they did. SIMP taking the overall series 5-4 in overtime.
Woo. Now, I want to again talk about that trap, because, like we're saying, I've never seen on steps an opening that aggressive. Did you think they were trying to find maybe Crimson back there in the M44?
Maybe. Or they were just trying to get into a position where they could prevent the rest of SIMP from crossing over those hills without having a flanking force behind them. But
okay.
I mean, that's what you have the 5916 for. That's what you have your scout for. You send him in there
just
to find out what
Right.
you're getting into. I think they were trying to stay low on the ground to sneak in and get into that corner without being spotted, but that's a two-way street. You don't spot them, they don't spot you. They got tagged by a bunch of IS-3s. Just a massive problem for Synrgy there. A throw, honestly.
All right. Well, again, ending a sort of like you were talking about, maybe confusing matches with a very confusing ending, a throw coming out for Synrgy Gaming. But SIMP doing a great job picking up 5-4 in overtime. Congratulations to them. Ladies and gentlemen, up next is not going to be Lant versus 07. We're going to skip straight to Game Over versus Maple Freedom. Don't go anywhere. Match number 2. Be right back.
Hey guys, I'm here in my garage. Just wanted to show you my brand new Nissan Leaf that I bought. It's great to drive around the hills up here in Malinowka. But what I care much more about than these materialistic things, of course, is the things that I've gotten from World of Tanks. And I've got this poster here from Season 5 that I took, and then I stole this from Season 4 off the wall at the end. I know that Nagatron knew it, but I don't think Ute ever found out. Anyway, I keep these as reminders that it wasn't that long ago that I was just playing Tier 1s, you know, didn't have much gold in my pocket. And then I started doing my TED Talks, Tank Talks. And now you're watching WGLNA Season 6.